will go to the line in the World Cup last 32 against DR Congo. This is the moment of truth for Thomas Tuchel. And joining us now on Let's Talk Football here on the sportshacks.com, as always, is our man in the UK, Rob Shepherd. Rob, you're welcome back to Let's Talk Football.
Hiya.
England, World Cup hopes down to 90 minutes or potentially more against DR Congo. We said before the tournament they were dodgy at the back. Unless that back four is sorted out, is there a car crash waiting to happen?
I think you could be right there. It definitely needs to be sorted out. Towards the end of the Ghana goalless draw, England were exposed at the back on a couple of occasions. Your man Pickford rescued them on a couple of occasions, but then also very closely came to a clanger that you've predicted. And possibly between him and Konsa could have given away a penalty. Chaos at the back, it seemed. And very unconvincing against Panama. They had a second half goal, late goal. It would have only made it 2-1, but it would have made it sweaty at the end, disallowed for a narrow offside. Konsa and Gay don't look comfortable together. John Stones must be returned to the centre half position alongside Gay. Stones has experience, more assured defensively, and he better on the ball, bringing the ball out. And I'm wondering whether your shout in the previous episode, Carl, that Declan Rice, yes, should return, but could he well return at right back? I think it's a possibility.
Trent can't come in. It's too late to bring in Trent now.
Oh, I mean, it's crazy that Trent wasn't picked in the first place. Then Livramento gets injured just before the tournament's pulled out. He's still not recalled. They bring in Trevor Chalobah as a replacement, but he's a centre half. So then Reece James gets injured. Kwanzaa, who doesn't really play right back, goes and plays right back against Panama, looks out of his depth. He gets injured. It's reminiscent of what happened to England in Euro 92 when they lost established fullbacks in Rob Jones, Lee Dixon, and then Gary Stevens on the brink of the tournament. They brought Keith Curle in. He was a centre half really, but they thought he could play right back. Didn't work. Andy Sinton had to go. They ended up playing David Batty at right back. If you remember, Anders Limpar and Thomas Brolin tore England apart in that game eventually. And the immortal headline was written after that, Swedes 2, Turnips 1. The tracksuit, a remnant of that era. Some people say it's only right back, but it's a specialist position and it can throw the whole team out of kilter. It's definitely an area that Congo will look to exploit. They've got Wissa up front, who, Newcastle striker who does like to play off the left. Very outstanding at Brentford. Struggled in the Newcastle to get regular games, but he's going to be a definite threat, and I'm sure he'll target that position, whoever ends up playing there. It could be Jed Spence, who is ostensibly a left back, but he can play at right back. But it's a mismatch. It's chaos. And Trent Alexander is sitting on a yacht somewhere or lying on a beach, looking at it and just wondering why he's not there.
Scratching his head. You have been known to scratch your head and a few other things about England managers in the past. Did you not like that, Shep?
Indeed. I did not. Well, I'm worried, like I was with Graham Taylor's selection ahead of Holland game when England failed to qualify for the 1994 World Cup in the United States. And as I say, this ostensibly looked like a comfortable ride for England, but I think it's going to be tricky. It's going to be really tricky against the Congo side who've obviously gathered confidence from a sticky start.
Bellingham, you were very, very critical, let me say, of Bellingham, and we encourage you to voice your criticisms and voice your opinions. Against Panama, did he stick one up?
Hands up, he did. He showed what he's capable of. the goal he scored from a corner was a very cute finish, and very quickly he made space down the left and cross and presented Kane with a header which he took with his usual aplomb, and he didn't boss the midfield. Although there was a couple of moments he did a sort of a Cruyff turn at one point in the game. He looked as though he was doing what his image says that he can do, what all the reputation says he can do, but boss the game. And I just wonder though, if Rice comes back into the midfield, whether that might cramp his style a little bit. There's an argument to say that Bellingham with Rodgers, who they go back playing a lot of games at under 18 level and under 21 level together, dovetail perhaps better with Anderson, who has been the unsung outstanding player in the England team so far. He's probably been the most consistent player. I'm not sure he's £120 million worth of player that Man City, prepared to pay. But Bellingham, he's got to carry on from that. This is a game that he's really got to show he is genuinely world class. Let's see if he does it.
You're very much an advocate, Mr. Shepherd, for Rashford and Saka to stay in the team, but they need to be more direct. They need to get those crosses in that Kane is going to thrive on.
They do need to be more direct, but I think a bit of continuity somewhere along the line is worthwhile. It was quite right. Gordon was dropped after two atrocious matches, which have made Barcelona wonder why they were so quick to sign him ahead of a World Cup for so much money. I like Rashford, and he's been around a long time. He can go both ways. He can go outside, and when he cuts inside, he looks really dangerous. And Saka he came into the tournament with a slight niggle. He just needs some more games, to perhaps get back to his best. I mean, the games will run out if you don't get to the games have gone if you don't get through this one. So I'm looking. Alan Shearer has said that England need to be better on the flanks. I agree with that, but I'd go with Saka and Rashford again on the basis of continuity. And yes, they need to be more direct, be more on the front foot. When they get the ball, look to take on the defender, not cut inside all the time.
Here's my $64 million question. Is Saka a big game player?
That's a really good question. I've had my doubts. You go back 4 years ago in the quarter-final against France. Early doors, England were on top of that game. And I remember Saka getting the ball and sort of going down far too easily, then looking for a free kick. The England players half stopped. France went up there and scored. And then he didn't sort of work his way back into the game. In the Champions League final for Arsenal, I don't think he performed. And there's been several occasions for England where, when it's come to the big game, he's not been the big game player that his reputation suggests. So, it's on him. It's on him now against Congo, and hopefully going forward to counter that and to show that he is actually the world class player that everybody tells us that he is.
This is a free throw of the dice for DR Congo. Let's face it, they are as excited as anybody at the fact that they got out of the group. They're into the knockout phase. They will set up a low block. There's no doubt about that. That's what they've done all tournament. How do England get around that?
I think by moving the ball quicker, showing urgency from the start, getting on the front foot. It's interesting. Several years ago, I had a conversation with Graham Souness about how Liverpool set about in the late 70s, early 80s, and when they passed teams to death. But from kickoff, he said for the first 10 minutes they went long. That was part of their instructions, to get the ball into the opposing half, to put the opposition on the back foot, to stretch them, to give players in the team time on the ball to run at the opposition. Sometimes I think England mess around with the ball too early in the game and lose the momentum. So let's get them on the back foot and put some fear into Congo. That's not just sort of saying, I mean, listen, why not borrow a little bit from, you know, the Jack Charlton tactic ball that served Ireland so well? England ultimately have probably got, you know, more talented attacking players in the final third, but you've got to get in the final third for that talent to come to the fore. So it's, you know, it's not a case of going route one, as people called it, but let's just let's see England get on the front foot, and I hope that comes from Tuchel. It's not, you know, it's not an admission that you lack in some form of technique or sophistication. It's just common sense. I mean, we've just seen Brazil, right, come back against Japan by the fact that Japan ended up sitting deep and Brazil were prepared to get the ball into the box early, and eventually, you know, they got a headed equaliser. Well, they got a headed equaliser, and eventually the pressure told. England need to get the ball into the box earlier, but they need to start and create a momentum, get the opposition on the back foot, so they cannot keep that so-called low block organised from early on. Because the longer it goes on, England, as has been seen in so many cases in the past, get frustrated.
Anthony Barry has delivered some very interesting and at times very strange halftime interviews to television. Thomas Tuchel is in the dressing room. Is he really an improvement on Southgate or Sam Allardyce or any of the managers that came before him?
Well, you know, we were singing his praises after the first game against Croatia, where he seemed to get the hairdryer out, and Barry gave us a fairly sort of plain language talk. The last game, he was speaking like an insurance broker about risk management or something like that, or a gymnastic student, syncopation, some words that I didn't recognise. So I hope, whilst we want Tuchel to be, in certain respects, surgical and scientific about his tactical instructions, let's not overcomplicate things. If that's the kind of language that's being used to the players, then I'm a bit worried about maybe how messages are being got across.
It struck me as the sort of language you'd see in a brochure for a £300,000 Lamborghini or something of that nature. But I'm sure the players don't ever look at the brochures when they go into the garage. They just want to drive the car. Is he allowing these players to drive the car?
Well, I mean, is he allowing these players to drive a car? There seems to be something. They're not quite playing with the freedom that you might expect. Nervous energy, I think, is how they describe it. I think this is a kind of a watershed match for England, because I've seen. I mean, let's not forget, in 1966, when I was only 4, so I can't really remember it. I've seen many of the replays and know the guys. I know the story inside out. England started very slowly in the group games, and they were struggling until they reached the quarterfinals when they beat Argentina. And then you go to more recently, Italia '90, and World Cup where England reached semi-finals. Again, the team took time to sort of settle and unfold. And the turning point really was against what was then an emerging African side in Cameroon. And England struggled in that game, were 2-1 down and went on. And then, we've seen England's, 2018 progress from relatively, unconvincing starts. So, listen, in a tournament or in a game which we used to know as a game of 2 halves, which has now become a game of 4 quarters, we're actually now at the halfway stage. Yeah, it's the knockout stage, but we're actually 3 weeks away still, or 2.5 weeks away from the final, which is the mandate of which Tuchel was appointed to at least get to and win, to go beyond what Southgate did in 2018, and 2 obviously Euro final defeats on penalties, to get to the final in 3 weeks' time. But in 48 hours, we'll find out if England can even reach the last 16, or whether they're on the red-eye flight of shame back home, quickly on the hills of Scotland. A big, big match for England all round this, and Tuchel's future.
Paula?
I'm going to call it England to win. And I'll go 2-0.
England to win 2-0, which means they won't be coming home, and the dream of football coming home will live on for at least another week on the American seaboard. As always, Rob Shepherd, thank you for joining us here on Let's Talk Football. We look forward to the game, and we look forward to your reaction.